Hello, dear souls out there. In view of the broad interest in the last SOL Academy launch of the last Tuesday after Easter holiday on the April 22nd, 2025, I will briefly summarize the clear signs, the events of the last few days here. The latest reset is underway. We had already many, but the timelines are clearly going in a very different direction than certain machinations have imagined. Those who are still looking at rather than through the 3D will hardly have recognized anything and will therefore still be living in the realm of business as usual. But far from it, things are happening that we already announced the season of last year, September, October 2024. The new age has now also arrived in the 3D reality world, in the world of the things. And more things will happen that will affect all of us. But now, what happened? Well, first to mention maybe that some of you have realized last week on Tuesday, 15th April 2025, yes, it was a portal day in the Mayan calendar, one of those rare portal days that we have this year. There was an earthquake. Well, you will tell me an earthquake. As usual, we had already many. But here I invite you to have a look on this mass media lie news. However, for those who wish, I give you an insight into this, I think 2 minutes insight. For those who don't want to see it, just go fast forward on that video. Let's have a look.
Now to the magnitude 5.2 earthquake that rattled Southern California on Monday. Stephanie Ramos is in San Diego with the latest. Good morning, Stephanie.
Michael, good morning. The quake was felt across Southern California and into Mexico, leaving a lot of people a bit shaken. Emergency responders now rushing to inspect areas.
This morning, residents across Southern California are bracing for possible aftershocks after a magnitude 5.2 earthquake rattled the San Diego area Monday. The quake's epicenter in the mountain town of Julian, alcohol smashing to the ground.
When I came out, it was just bourbon and everything all over the floor. It's the biggest one I've personally ever felt in 15 years.
In Scripps Ranch, this baby jolted awake.
Don't be afraid.
Violence shaking at a church. The service was being live streamed. At the San Diego Zoo Safari Park, frightened elephants instinctively forming what's known as an alert circle to protect the herd. Construction crews in downtown San Diego were 35 stories high when the building began to sway.
The guys on top, they're on the side of the building and they could fall off.
The quake also triggered rock slides, sending boulders crashing onto roads.
Many residents here in San Diego and up north to Los Angeles received early warnings via text thanks to apps like MyShake that sent out alerts just seconds before those tremors hit. Robin, thankfully no one was reported to be injured.
You're right, thankfully about that. Stephanie, thank you.
Okay, and nobody has been injured. A 5.2 earthquake, 5 plus 2, 7. What a coincidence. And I want to have a look with you on this amazing earthquake, which is a little bit strange. Well, first up front, what we understood is, well, when we look at this, is in San Diego has been announced an earthquake where we normally are used to have a first pre-quake, then the main earthquake, and maybe some small ones following. Here, it was something, when you looked well on this reportage, it was like switch on, and off, and gone. What happened here? That was an artificial earthquake in San Diego. Well, for those who follow the Galactic Federation, there are some regular GIA reports from Kim. It was an artificial earthquake in San Diego, not a natural even, but a test run. Well, the so-called, and we can nowadays speak about the deep state's goal, was an apocalyptic event to justify martial law around Easter. And where are we today? Business as usual. Now, the actual intention was to blow up the so-called San Andreas Fault, a place where an ancient portal used to be. Now the red point here on the map is this San Andreas place, San Diego here, and that fault is underground since old years, here down, up here even to Seattle, Vancouver, this line here. This portal was created during a very old war and was man-made. The shock was intended, as said, to reactivate the portal and trigger a catastrophe, the apocalypse. You will see, you will tell yourself maybe, well, San Diego earthquake, what does that have to do with me in Europe, in Asia, or wherever you are? Well, that would have been just the first stone of a domino effect. We will see that in a little moment. A domino effect on what? On different seas, whether they are then having an impact on volcanoes, activated tsunamis, and as well, of course, other earthquakes following. But that didn't. Well, this San Andreas place, as often in the past already with the Truman Shows and many long lists of Hollywood productions, that has been announced already in 2015, I think. For those who know this catastrophic action science fiction movie, San Andreas, with Dwayne Johnson. But what was the idea behind this? The idea was the surveillance and the beast from the sea prophecy. Now when we look at the Bible, we see that there, or up front first, this deep state monitored 3 regions in the oceans, as I announced before, to draw out a beast from the sea, an ancient narrative based on the book of Revelations from the Bible. And that would have then effect on the Atlantic, Pacific, and the Arctic Ocean, so all around the world. And according to Kim, they wanted to stage a biblical scenario, the beast with the 7 heads and the crowned women, signaling the end of time. Haven't we had that already? Now, I will not go too much into that, and here would be a video, and I'll link it maybe below this, for those who want to dive a bit deeper. What is all about this beast with 7 heads from the sea? I want to take it up front without watching it. This allegory of the beast from the sea with the 7 heads, such as with the 7 chakras, is you. You, the rising, increasing, remembering human being. That one in the allegory would then go into a fight with a double-horned thing, evil, Satan from the land side, and then, as described, taking away the children from the women, which would then have been the Christ. Who's the Christ? That's the Christ, the crystal, you, the walking around antenna on this planet. So something changed, definitely. Now all this, as said, is the terrifying secret of the beast in the Revelation 13, in the bestseller book, the Bible, which is an allegory, which is in fact a biochemistry book. And that has to say what here has been celebrated so far at Easter in the past was the resurrection of the Antichrist, just as the people haven't knew it. But the Antichrist isn't here. This earthquake on a way or the other didn't react. It seems that on other level of knowledge, other level of dimensions, above of this 3D world, 5th and further dimensions, something must have not answered as it has been answered so far. As I said it here before, well, the role of the deep state has little power left, but clings to outdated technology and rituals. They wanted to access Kim's instructions, of course, what has been said and put in place in this Galactic Federation, from the Universal Council to regain control themselves again. But according to Kim, the deep state does not understand the true cosmic connections, what has been set up so far and will be set up further. So what they do is working in just all these puppets, you name them, managers, puppets as politicians, they're just really sick. I mean it literally. Sick means not healed, not entire, not holistic, walking around on an old school way with the beliefs and promises, if you're good, we will give you power again. But seems this power is not here. There is another timeline coming up. For those who wish, as I said, all this terrifying allegory, I put a link and you can watch that on yourself. Further on, I leave here for a few seconds this insight on this Galactic Universal Council and the support from the Mantid as well. For those who wish, can click here, pause and go deeper into knowledge that we share together. But here in this resume, I want to jump another event that you might have heard as well. You might have heard about this gentleman here, Mr. Klaus Schwab, the initiator of the World Economic Forum. He's announced just during Easter, following my recent announcement and at the beginning of my 88th years, I have decided to step down from the position of chairman as a member of the board of trustees with immediate effect. The WEF quoted him as saying in a statement. Who brings together this board during this specific Easter celebration and is then seems quite in a hurry because he stepped back with immediate effect? And what a coincidence. 88 years old, 8 and 8 is 16, 1 and 6 is 7, a further coincidence. But let's jump from this school of, you call it school of puppets, as I often mentioned. A lot of worldwide puppets, politicians you call them, come out of the production led by this gentleman. Other things happened as well. Well, there were other news. You heard about the Pope Francis. He died, yes, what a coincidence, with 88, with the age of 88 years. Why this Pope, you might remember this Pope Francis actually was called the Jesuit coup Pope. And why a coup Pope? For those who remember, a Pope normally is replaced when the previous died. But he took a place of, he was, I think, called Ratzenberger, also known as the Pope Benedict from Germany then, and suddenly disappeared, he stepped back. And this Pope Francis, since then, took over the lead in the Vatican. Well, just to remember, this is the guy that opened the gates for migration and thus human trafficking all over the world, not only in the US. He opened for all these aspects on COVID, you remember? Vaccine is an act of love. He opened for the transgender, the climate ideology, and of course, the war against Russia. Separate always, that's the dualistic, even satanic way as so far we have had in the past. Now, as mentioned, we also had other events, and 2 weeks ago, where everything in this time of truth comes to the surface, we also had 2 weeks ago these different reports about JFK, about different so far hidden secret reports from CIA and FBI. Those are anymore conspiracy theories. This is matter of fact. You can read it even in the lying mass media, where this report about the FBI came up, where it has been said that Hitler probably did not die but could flee to Argentina via Vatican, especially through the Jesuits, where he probably also had children. Well, fine, we will say. Well, we all know that the Pope here, Argentina, first of all, Argentina was and still is the country of refugees of the Nazis. Have you seen what actually is ongoing on the regime in Argentina? We will not go into that now. But fact is that the Pope Francis, is Argentinian. And so he was a coup pope, a Zionist, and is rumored to have brought untold suffering to children in Argentina. We will also hear and now not going into that. And on the top of holiday of the Nazis, so on the celebration of the Antichrist, their Nazi head dies with Argentinian roots. Well, I have been asked during the lounge, well, but Stephan, you do not speak a lot about this deep state and stuff. Well, indeed, if there is nothing to be said, then I will not speak about. And also we know where attention goes, energy flows. So why focusing on that, we had other things to do. But here I'm talking about things that happened, and further things will continue to happen. Here today, what we can look at, we see this, it's well known, the deep states organization all over the world. Here, I will not go also in too much details. If you wish, go and dig. But what you see here in the art, that's the Vatican. It boosted up. And what we know is, you see here also the Kabbalah, one after the other is falling. How? It abolishes itself. It crumbles. Now, how is that all possible? All that happens with all this aligning of one after the other coincidence, just in this intensive time that we are actually living, just now. Well, it happens because timelines are splitting. Some forces are gone. We know it since 5th, 6th July 2022 when the CERN made a kind of similar trial to bring up some forces that are gone now. Kaya Yuga is over. And here again the trial so specific, that reset, we had mod resets, we had plenty resets where humanity forgot again and again and again and again. But that time it happens different. What is it? It's you. It's all of us. It's us, the antenna, it's Mother Earth that raised its frequency, and the matrix, the old matrix, satanic matrix, as we have so many spoken during the launches of the Academy, is gone. What is new here, of course, is an AI matrix that physically you can see even on blue skies with your naked eyes. But fact is, what is happening here is that love does not fight. There is nothing working against it. As I mentioned it before, it is destructing itself. How? By this new quality of vibrations. We can measure that, we can perceive it, we can see it with the naked eyes, with the quality of sun. Look outside. We live in a new timeline. Change is not coming, reset is not coming, it is here, happening in front of our eyes. And this energy, this golden mean, is not fighting classically from blue against red or red against blue. It is. And purely by being, such like I once last year I showed it with that picture here, like a piggyback love that is hanging on the back, and by that it influences of what is then happening of this old. And this old means it's crumbling, it's disappearing, it's where it is that what is centered within you, within all us, our soul, that on the way, of course, by the fact that so far we experienced within that life, within previous lives, what we thought electric, what we felt then magnetic and attracted, and built in a collective matrix, in a collective consciousness here on this planet Terra, on planet Earth. That's us. And we could ask, why all that stories? Why over thousands of years all these stories here? Because someone didn't know anymore what to do with its time? No, because here on this planet is something that is more than very attractive, and that's you. That's you with your own soul connection to the source. That so far has been tried, of course, to be impacted. We know all these stories from the top to down, up to the solar plexus. Now with the AI matrix it should be switched off. But it is not, because the soul, this golden inner spark within each of us, a part of it stayed pure. And we remember, gold is the perfect conductor. Well, our cables are more used with copper because gold is a bit expensive maybe, and that couldn't be impacted, and that was the reason why in the past hundreds of years we had plenty resets already behind us. Now, every soul so is direct, a direct photon beam, this spark that is re-emerging, re-vibrating, re-showing up and allowing us to remember being a part of the divine energy. The connection is not above, but within you, within all of us, in the heart chakra of our soul. Even if you're if our body or our mind or our energy field are disturbed, and they have been definitely during the entire Kali Yuga, the soul part remains pure and dead and remembered. So the inside shines golden, even if there are artificial overlayers on the outside. And I announce it, there will be furthermore coming, especially in this period actually we are living. It is said, I'm not a specialist on astrology or theology, and for sure not astrotheology, but fact is we perceive it actually, this intensive re-emerging, re-trying to show up, but it doesn't work. That's a bit like someone in absolute rage that you push against the wall, and with its last part of energy it tries to get out but can't. What can we do, further do, going through that? Walking on your way. You might feel or perceive these days again kind of fear, kind of anxieties coming back, kind of sadness maybe, or even rage as well. That is okay. In this period we are living now, here and now, in this collection that we have now, especially on the 27th April, where all this energy then is focused on the mirror, we call it new moon. It brings all that is not solid to fall. And so that means as well within us, all that hasn't been solid, really solid, crumbles. And that's okay. That means also in each of us, in you, in me, in all of us, whatever comes out, let it come out and show what you can do. Feel this golden presence of your soul within you. Look for the point of creation within you. There is nothing out there. This out there in the out there doesn't exist. Whatever you experience in your world is within you. From there you can manifest, heal, trust, and communicate with the soul, with the source that is within you. With all that, I thank you, beautiful souls, for all that work that you all have done in this past time, which is simply beautiful. It happens in front of our eyes. It will continue to clean up. Just continue to walk your way on the golden way, on the golden midway. Thank you so much. Thank you that you're here. Thank you that you listened all that time, and hear you soon. Thank you.